Floor plans are an essential part of marketing a property these days. So if you're a real estate photographer or an estate agent, you're going to need to know how to produce them so that when they go onto listing sites like Rightmove here in the UK or Zillow in the US, potential buyers or renters can see the layout of the property. If you're not making these floor plans yet as a property photographer, I would really recommend that you do learn how to make floor plans, whether you're sketching them or whether you're scanning them using an app, because that way you're going to get more business, because real estate agents expect to have a floor plan now with the photos when they're delivered too. So in this video, I'm going to give you a step-by-step beginner's guide of how to manually sketch a floor plan and then how to get it produced to send to the agent afterwards. Before you get started, you are going to need a few bits of equipment. You're going to need a laser measure, a pen or pencil, some graph paper and a clipboard. So let's start with the laser measure. I've got here the Leica Disto D1. You can pick this up on Amazon for about £85 I think now, so it'll be something similar in dollars in the US. I've had this for probably about 8 years now and it's still going strong. It just takes two AAA batteries, and I probably do about 3 or 4 properties a day, and those batteries will probably last nearly a month. So it's really small, compact and robust, and it also fires up to about 120 feet I think in length, so that's plenty long enough because there's not going to be many rooms that you measure that are going to be 120 feet, to be honest. So you're going to be absolutely covered with something like this. Next up, we've got the pen, and I would advise getting one of these little pens here over a pencil. For ages I used mechanical pencils, but they'd always break when you're drawing, and also the rubbers on the end would run out. The great thing about these is they're pens, so I think they're a lot clearer, and also the eraser on the end is never going to run out. So if you make a mistake, you can rub these pens out. And I've got a 0.5 size here to keep it nice and fine so it's nice and clear. I think these are about, you can pick a pack of them up, I think probably several in a pack for about £10 now on UK Amazon, probably similar in the US in dollars. And also you can get refills for them. I think you can get a pack of 12 for, gosh, again, about £10 or $10. So if you get that, you're probably going to be covered for the whole year, because one refill of these will easily last me a few weeks. Then you're going to need your graph paper. And here I've got this squared paper here. I'll do another close-up in a moment. And you can use the smaller graph paper if you like, but I just find drawing on this is a lot clearer. And I'm going to go into sort of what scale you can use. You can use whatever scale you like, really. But I just find using this squared paper a lot clearer and easier to use. And I can also fit a lot more on my page, and I'll go into that in just a moment. And then lastly, yeah, just get a clipboard. So if you're using A4 paper, just clipboard like this, easy enough. So you can walk around and you've got a nice solid surface to draw on and keep your plans nice and clear. So that's all the bits of equipment covered. Now I'm going to try and go around and sort of do this in as much real time as I can as possible. I'm going to give it a go using this Insta360 Ace Pro 2 just attached to my chest so you can see what I'm drawing, and hopefully I can talk you through how to sketch a floor plan. So I'm all hooked up, ready to go now, and it's good practice when you first get to a property to have a walk around the whole property to see the layout of it. That's partly due to being able to fit it on your page. So if it's a really big property, you want to know where to start, so you know whether to draw it straight like that or maybe across, and I'll come to that in just a moment. And also maybe take a walk around the outside of the property just so you can see where any walls are jutting in and out. Hopefully you get a nice straight property, but sometimes you can be caught by surprise. Say some of the walls don't quite line up, so you can see that sometimes easier by taking a little walk around outside the property. You're also going to want to decide on a scale you want to use. So if you're using squared paper like this, like I am, I use each one of these little squares as 50 centimeters. So it's 2 squares equals a meter. So yeah, I'm working in meters here. You can work in square feet if you want and come up with your own scale, but I like to work in meters. I find I can fit more on the page that way as well. Like I say, you can use a smaller graph paper, but I just find that's quite hard to look at, and it can all just look a little bit messy. I just find it's a lot clearer with this. So like I say, 2 squares is 1 meter, 1 square is 50 centimeters. So you'll be able to see what I'm doing while I'm drawing the plan out. One other thing to note before you get started is to check up the guidelines of how you should be measuring property from whatever country you're in. Here in the UK, it's the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, so we have to follow the guidelines set by them. And the main thing to keep in mind when drawing that here is that you can include pretty much everything in the property apart from anything that goes underneath 1.5 meters in height. So that usually means when you're up in loft space, so you've had a loft converted, there's often eave space there. So you can mark it on the plan, but what you're going to have to do is put like a dotted line there and then write on that it's eave space and not to be included in the total square footage or the gross internal area as we write on our plans here. And you can then put on what the area is with it, but just make sure you're marking out that that is space that is under 1.5 meters in height. When deciding where to start in a property, it's good practice to find like the furthest point forward in a corner of the property. That way you know you're going to fit it on a page because you can kind of start at the furthest point forward on your page and then you can just simply work backwards and across, and that way you'll fit it all in just right. Also, when you're going around, make sure you're measuring into any fitted cupboards or wardrobes. In this property, I've been around and there aren't any, so I can't show you that, but basically just remember to open all the doors, measure right to the back, because if you don't, you're going to get your measurements completely wrong. So I've taken a walk around this property and I've found that this corner here is the furthest point forward and across. So I'm going to start measuring in this corner, going across this wall here, and then I'm going to go across the back and back down, because this is a fairly square room, but it does have the bay window. So we're going to deal with that bay window once we've got the square wall. So I'm going to go over here and start my first measurement. And I'll just turn this on so you can see what I'm drawing. So to take your measurement with the Disto, you simply turn it on and then put it against the wall and fire it across with the laser. Make sure it's flat, because if you're pointing up, you're going to get a wrong measurement. So make sure it is flat when you're doing that. So here you can see it says 3.66. So for that, I'm going to measure across. 1, 2, 3, and it's 6.6. So we go up to 0.5, and we're just going to go a little bit further than that because it's 3.66. And then just write in how far it is. We're also going to need to put in the chimney breast. So again, let's do a measurement here. That is 1.09. So you're going to go up 1 meter on here. And again, we're just going to do the other side of the chimney breast. So it's 1 meter again, 1 meter 3. Pop that in there. And then you're just going to want to shade that in. So now we're just going to continue round the back of this room, going across this wall and down. So we're just going to join it up here. So we're going to take this measurement here, and we've got 4.3. So we're going to go across from this here, from the back point here, going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's 0.3. So we're going to go in the middle there, because these squares are 0.5. Again, right in there. And I must also say that it's really important to make sure you're drawing this very clear, because you're going to send it off to someone else to draw. So it's really important that you make sure it's clear enough for them to read, to make sure that they can draw the accurate floor plan. So just going to finish off this corner here, go back down. I mean, it should just match that corner there. So yeah, it's 3.69. So yeah, 3.66, just a centimetre or so, but we can just join that up. And also then we're going to need to mark on our door there. So that's simple, you just put a little door symbol there. So now we're just going to have to deal with how we draw the window bay. So now we've got our back wall in, we've got a fireplace in, our door in, we've got to put this front wall in with the window bay. So we're just going to get our laser again, got to measure these two little side points that jut out. So here we have 0.54, so we're just going to come in just one square, because these, remember, these are 0.5, and you have to write in there 0.54. Do the other side, and that is 0.63. So again, just about one square there, 0.63. And then we're going to have to get the length into the window bay. Don't measure from the window if it's got a ledge like this. If it goes all the way down to the floor, you can measure from the window. But here, we want the floor space, so we're going to measure from the wall here. So take the measurement again, make sure that is straight. Here it's 4.32, so we're going to measure 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that's our 0.3 at the top there as well. So 4.32, and then we're going to need to measure the width across here and also the larger width as well. So the opening bit is 3.14, sorry. So write that in there, 3.14. And then the front width, a little bit tricky with the radiator, that is 1.97. So we're just going to measure across 2 squares there, because these are 1 meter, remember, 1, 2. And then you're simply going to need to mark on the windows too. So you can do that by putting these little rectangles on the outer wall. So there you go, we've got our first room done, we've got our fireplace, we've got our window bay and the door. So that is your first room done. Now we're going to carry on around the rest of the property. We're going to go into the hallway, then the kitchen, dining room, then we're going to head upstairs. So now we're moving on from the living room into the hallway, because when you're drawing these plans, you're going to want to move around in a fairly linear fashion. You don't want to jump from one room at the front of the house to one at the back. You're going to want to make sure all the walls join together. So kind of go around in a bit of a circle in a way, so it all joins together. And here I can see that that wall matches up with this little front wall here, and you can kind of check that by just taking the measurement here, and we had 3.66 there, and yeah, it's 3.7, so you can see that that does align with there. So we can simply draw our front wall across from here. So we're going to do that by measuring across the front here, and as you can see, that's 2.17 meters. So we're just simply going to then put in 1, 2, and that's 0.7 there, because remember these are 0.5. You're going to need to put the front door in, so pop that in, and then also put an arrow saying in, because it's obviously very important to get it in the property. And again, there's a little window there, so make sure you're getting all your windows on, all your doors on. It's easy to forget those. Like, I still often do miss them off, and the floor plan drawers actually remind me to put them in. So we're going to write in there 2.17. Then we're going to go from the front wall to the back wall, measure there, and we've got 4.85. So we're going to draw that one in. So 1, 2, 3, 4.85. And we're also going to want to put the stairs in here, and that's pretty simply done as well. We're just going to simply draw in a set of stairs like this, as you would imagine they'd be. You're going to put some steps in, but there's something I've seen here which is an understairs storage cupboard, and I'll show you in a shot now. And what you have to do with those is you put your little door on for the storage cupboard, and then mark on a little cutaway symbol there. That shows that there is a little storage space underneath, but it's not going to be head height. So we're going to put a little arrow there showing to go up the stairs, and there's also another full height storage cupboard at the back, and we can measure that, so I'll just show you that now. So yeah, it is important to get all these little cupboards in when measuring, because this one is actually a full height cupboard, so we can measure that one here. So it's 0.7 by 0.85, so we can just pop that on there and make sure you got your door on. So 0.75 by 0.85. And then we're going to move on to the kitchen. So yeah, now we're in the kitchen, and we're just going to move up along the side wall that we drew from the hallway. So up here, so just going to get the measurement from the back wall to the wall that matches with the hallway, and it is 3.60. So we're going to draw that on here. Go 1, 2, 3, and we'll have that as 1 square, so 3.60. And then we're going to measure across the back wall, make sure it's straight again, and that's 2.77. So we're going to go 1, 2.5, and then halfway across to make the 0.77. So There we go. And this is a square room, so we can just join that up. And then you're also going to want to put on all the fixed units. So this fixed unit here, and the hob, and the wash hand basin, well, the sink, and also the window. So I'll draw these on now. So we'll get the window on, the kitchen units in, and the hob. Also the door to the kitchen, and you've also got a side door there, so make sure you get everything on. And then obviously don't forget to label these. I mean, it's pretty obvious it's kitchen, reception room, and entrance hall. So now we're just going to complete this ground floor by moving on to the dining room. So now we've just got one room to fill in this floor, and as you can see here on the plan, you can actually just join this up because I've walked around the property and I've seen that it's just a square at the back. So what you can do to make life easier is just simply draw across the back here, join it up, and then we can obviously take our measurements, make sure it's all measuring up correctly. So it is 3.72, so that should all fit in. 1, 2, 3, and that fits in nicely there. Yep. Make sure you're getting the door and window on. I'll just mention something about the door and windows in a moment. The length here is 4.85, so mark that on. And don't forget to put the chimney breast on. 2.22 by 1.08, so 1, 2. And also square the room off there and put the door in. Make sure you're getting the doors open the right way because you sometimes get people pick that up as well. One thing to note about the patio doors, these are actually flush with this wall here, so I could take the measurement from here, but if they were recessed doors, so they fit with the back wall, you would have to draw that recess in. So you would measure to this wall and also that wall, and then measure the recess in and like just mark on that back wall. So that's just something to remember if the doors are a bit recessed. So there we go, we've got our ground floor drawn pretty much. Usually a little bit neater than that, but it's obviously I'm trying to do this video, so I'm trying to hold this and show you guys. So I'm a little bit wobbly in places, but try and make sure you get those lines nice and straight, because like I say, you want to make sure this is really neat. So when you send it away to the floor plan drawers, which I'll come on to in a little while, they can understand everything that you've drawn. Some agents, not all, mind, would do like the exterior spaces put in, especially if they're like small little gardens. Obviously, if they're huge gardens with loads of land, they're not going to expect you to do that because, well, it's just so hard to measure them. But smaller places like this that have got a little back garden, they do ask me to measure them. So I'm going to go outside there now and just measure that. And there is actually a couple of little outside spaces we're going to measure too. So let's go outside and take a look how we're going to do that. So similar to how we do the interior of the property, it's going to be the same outside. Like I'm just going to get the garden length here, and sometimes they ask for width, but generally just the garden width will do. And also there's a couple of little outbuildings I'm just going to go around and measure now. The good thing about these little laser measurers as well, they do work pretty well outside, but always try and measure into the shaded areas because they're going to work a lot better. So I'm just going to put my laser against the back wall, look for it over there. I usually start by putting it on here just to help, and there I can see the red dot on the fence. Click it, and this is 13.2 meters. So we're just going to draw on here. You don't have to go up 13.2 meters because it will take up a lot of the page. What you can do is write in 13.2, draw roughly, and then just put a couple of little things like that just to show that it does go a bit further. And then we're going to shade this in, but we're just going to get the rest of it as well. So once you've finished drawing your plan, it's good practice to go and have a look at your plan, just check everything's marked on there. Make sure all the fixtures and fittings are in there, like the windows, the doors, the kitchen appliance, bathroom fixtures and fittings. Like I've just noticed I've missed a window at the back of the bathroom there. And also, if you can, it's also good practice to try and get the through measurement By that I mean the full width or length of the house. Like here, I can measure right across from one side of the house to the other, and that's saying 6.6 meters. And then I can mark that on here, and that way I can make sure I'm getting the full width of the house. And again, if I can try and do that down the side of the house, I will, and I will be able to get that from front to back. So I will just go and mark that on too. So once you check that over, you've got the full width and length if you can, then you're pretty much finished. And now I'm going to talk you through how to scan this plan and send it to people that are going to draw your plan for you. So once you've got your finished plan drawn out, you're going to want to scan this and send it off to floor plan floor plan drawers, people who are going to use your sketch to draw it for you. And these people, to be honest, are often based overseas. Like I send mine to a company in India, and there's a lot of them based around India, Philippines, Sri Lanka. And the reason why it works so great is because of the time difference and also obviously cost. But I send my plan off in the evening, and then I get it back at about 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning the next day. So I can check it over, and then if there's any amendments, I can send it back to them, they'll change it, and then I'll get it back still in the morning, and I can send it straight to the client in the morning. So we get this really quick 24-hour turnaround along with the photos that I can send to the estate agent. In terms of finding people to draw your floor plans, there's loads of these people around. To be honest, I'm always emailed like almost on a daily basis by people wanting to draw sketches of my floor plans. But you can find these sort of people probably on Fiverr, or even if you Google them. And honestly, they are really cheap. I mean, my floor plans get drawn for about £3 for a plan that's under 1,000 square feet. And then anything over 1,000 square feet, I'm charged like 0.001 of a penny for every square foot after that. So they are pretty cost effective. And like I say, it does end up being a lot cheaper than getting them drawn up. Say if you scanned it with one of these apps on your phone, they often can end up being like 10, 15, something like £20 or $20 to get a floor plan drawn, whereas this is often less than half the price than using one of those scanning apps. When it comes to scanning your floor plan, I actually use an app on my phone called Turbo Scan. Just find it works a lot better than just taking a photo from your phone, because it actually converts the file into like a scanned image. So it looks similar to if you scanned it in on a scanner for your computer. That way I've got it saved to my gallery and my phone, and I can simply email it to the floor plan drawers, or if they've got some sort of portal, you can just upload it to that from your phone, and it just looks a lot better than if it's just a picture taken, because it shows a lot more detail if it's a scanned image. So once you've scanned in your plan, you've sent it off to your floor plan drawers, all that's left to do then is just chill out, go to bed, wake up in the morning, and it should be in your inbox ready for you to check over. So just make sure you're checking that plan over that they've sent over to you. If there are any amendments, make sure you're getting them changed, and that way you can send the accurate floor plan to your client. So that is how you sketch a floor plan for property marketing and then send it away to get drawn up by third-party help. It is a bit daunting at first, so realise that, and you will be quite slow initially as well. So don't worry about speeding through. I mean, I've been doing this for about 20 years now, and to be honest, I can get round a house like this probably in about 10 minutes sketching it out. I mean, it took a bit longer there showing you, but you will get really quick, and honestly, you'll be able to draw straight lines really well once you keep doing it over and over and over again. So just stick with it, keep practicing. I mean, practice on your own house to begin with. Try and find some nice easy places, like some little flats to start with, and then you can build up into the harder places. But like I say, just take your time, make sure you're getting accurate, because that's the main thing really, and speed will come over time. But thanks for watching, guys. I hope that's helped, and good luck drawing your floor plans.